Good morning. Ooh, good morning, good morning, good morning, Miss Danielle.
Morning. Happy Tuesday.
Happy
Happy
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Let me see, make sure you can see my shirt. I'm always so close to
Okay.
the camera.
Yes, yes, they
There
got
we
to see our
go. We
t-shirts.
got to
Yeah.
represent.
Represent,
That's
represent.
right.
Good morning.
Good
Out in
morning.
PA in Pennsylvania. How's it going, lady?
Oh man, it is bananas. Our numbers are still rising. As of right now, salons and barbershops are still open. Some are closing just because of financial reasons. It's so bittersweet because you see new salons and barbershops opening and ones that have been around for some time, they're now closing. So it's a little bit of give and take, but for the most part, we're just trying to, I'm staying quarantine, I'm staying home, so I just don't want to take any chances as far as going out. I know some restaurants and bars, they're not allowed to have dine-in services, but you can get takeout, things like that, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I haven't sat down in a restaurant since the pandemic. And I
Okay.
so miss it. I so miss going out for dinner.
Yeah,
Like,
it's hard. You know what, we've actually gone out, I want to say twice. One, we did eat dine in. My daughter just wanted to get out, and then another time we had ate outside. They offered outside dining, so but the experience was fine. We were sanitized. We had our wipes. As for plasticware, you don't have to use the silverware that they bring out, things like that.
mhm.
So
Yeah. Oh, I miss it. I
I
miss it.
know
And then
it's
to hear
hard.
that our industry, Danielle, is, there's a lot of people that are, this is hurting.
It is.
This is has not been good for a lot of professionals.
I agree. I think that just during this time, as beauty and barber professionals, we have to put ourselves first. We have to be a little bit selfish with our self care. For example, just unplugging. I know for me, it was kind of a blessing that we were having a lot of internet connection problems, where I was able to really just disconnect and unplug a little bit from social media, from the news, from all of, what I mean, just all the information that's been bombarding us. And it's been really nice to just kind of take some time and enjoy just some self-care, doing some things for myself, spending some time with my family, things like that. You have to just disconnect a little bit.
And I have some.
Well, you on a mission. That's different.
Yeah, I have some, but it's just been, this is a sad, we're in a sad place as an industry, and I'm just, let's just bring in some other professionals. Let's get an update. Let's hear how things are going across the country. Let's Miss Darcy in Washington State.
Good
Good morning,
morning.
beautiful.
Good morning, gorgeous ladies.
Good
It's so
morning.
wonderful to be with you today.
So
Thank you
excited
for
to have
joining
you.
us.
Yeah,
Yes.
so where should I start?
Oh my God, what is going on? Oh my gosh, what's going on in
Um,
Washington State?
well, I'll start with what Danielle started with, which is our status on if we're open or not. And we are open in Washington State. Most of the state, there are still some counties that are in a modified phase one. And every state has a different phase system, so don't be confused if our system isn't the same as yours. Every state has a different system. And our governor has called it a dial. And so currently we are in paused reopening because our cases are rising. And I am in Seattle, King County, which is the most populated area. And considering we are so populated, we are doing okay, but the danger is on the horizon of potential shutdown again. And we also have changes to our personal services guidelines. They decided to update it. And I'm going to tell you right now, they don't always make sense what they decide to put in those. I personally got tested recently for COVID-19 for the first time, and I tested negative. That'll last me about a day or two, and then I'll be paranoid again. But But the protocol that I'm doing in Washington State, I'm doing everything that is required and recommended. So we all have that suggested language and then the required language in every single set of guidelines to interpret. And so I know what I am doing is working, but they decided that we don't have to change capes or change smocks between clients, which I think is nutso. So I'm going to keep doing it. And my most recent exciting news is I just got a medical grade air purifier for our salon. So we have named our air purifier Lil Fauci after Dr. Fauci.
Oh, I love it.
And we have blinged the unit out with rhinestones and a lion's head. And a picture of Dr. Fauci in all honor and respect to all of his expertise and knowledge that we bow down to all the time.
Wow.
And then one last thing, of course, because the chaos of COVID-19 and dealing with protocol isn't enough. My neighborhood has had ongoing and increased and escalated protests recently, and while I was taking clients in our salon, which is still boarded up, by the way, we had a huge escalation by our Seattle police, and I had tear gas and pepper spray and mace wafting over to my salon as I was welcoming clients to the salon. So that is really frustrating and hard, and you know, people were going to the gas station across the street to get their eyes flushed out. So I was in the middle of it, and I had to ask my last bridal practice, hey, Roxanne. Oh, she's from Washington. She's commenting. That's great.
Good morning.
Good morning. And anyway, it's a lot to deal with everything that's already going on, and then that on top of it. And having a bridal practice be like, it's okay, I'll deal.
That is deep, Darcy. Oh my God. And in the middle of all of this, you're still trying to run your business, deal with your clients, control your own mental health.
And then on top of it, you know, all the work that I already do to volunteer for our industry. I'm not just enrolled here. I also volunteer for a group in Washington and a national group that is helping with education on legal business practice and misclassification of workers. So there's a lot. But I'm only working 2 days a week, so I mean, there's that.
There you go. There you go. Well, I'm so excited to have you with us. I'm truly, you know, just really honored to have you a part of our organization. And, you know, no rest for the weary. There is just like no rest when there's so much work to do. And I commend you, Darcy, for just staying strong and staying with the fight, because it's so easy to just throw your hands up and just say, you know, forget everything.
Well, we can take breaks. I'm really glad that you were talking about unplugging from social media. I need to take that advice more. But, you know, it is summer, so, you know, get a chance to leave your phone at home and take a walk, or, you know, if it's too hot outside in the middle of the day, do it in the early morning. And that self-care, you cannot avoid the self-care, because we cannot take care of our friends, our family, or our clients if we are not well ourselves.
I agree. And I'm glad that she was able to share that with us, because like I said, just anytime I notice I'm just getting like I'm in a very anxious place, or I'm not really in control of my emotions, I start to remove distractions. And I'm like, okay, what's causing me to feel this way? Why do I feel, you know, like I don't have control over what's happening? And I just start to remove things out of the way seriously. And then you just kind of come back to it later. You have to take care of yourself. That's one thing I'm learning during this pandemic is, you know, we can't ignore the warning signs that we feel inside. You know when something's not right, or when you just kind of need a break from everything.
Yeah, correct.
Yes.
And I like to harken back to, do you remember the movie Dangerous Liaisons in the 80s with like Michelle Pfeiffer and John Malkovich? Do you remember that movie?
That sounds so familiar. Oh my goodness.
You know, it doesn't matter the plot. There is there is a quote in it, and you just have to keep repeating it to yourself. It's beyond my control.
There you go.
It's beyond my control. And then figure out what you can control, which is you.
Yes.
So I can control me. I can't stop other people from coming at me, but I can turn the phone off.
There
And
you
I
go.
can decide I'm going to watch this stupid comedy movie and eat some chips right now. And if
There you
that's what
go.
I do, that's what I do.
Absolutely. Take some time for you. One question, Ms. Darcy. How was the test? You said that you did get tested for COVID. How was that test? I have not been tested, but I've seen video and I've heard some things. But just from your experience, was it uncomfortable or?
I mean, it's not fun. If I could say, you know, if I could get tested, you know, in some, like, I mean, I almost feel like some people would prefer like a finger prick, and then some people are weird about blood. But it was very straightforward in Seattle. They let you register online, or you can walk up to their free testing site. And I drive a scooter, so they actually directed me to the walk up because it's not really appropriate for me to be in the car line. So I took less than 10 minutes, and literally they had me sit down, and they're very nice. They make sure that they give you direct eye contact, at least in the site that I was at. And they say it's not very fun, it's uncomfortable, but your eyes will water. Here's a tissue. And, you know, just so you know, it's going to be less than 10 seconds each nostril, and I have to go all the way back. Are you ready? Take a deep breath. And because you take a deep breath and, you know, you're kind of, I was actually anticipating it was going to be longer in each nostril, and I actually thought they were going to go further back because clients of mine had described getting tested. They're like, it's like getting your brain scratched.
Oh,
well,
my
like,
gosh.
what?
No, I hadn't heard that term. Oh my God.
I was like, am I getting a lobotomy at the same time? Because I need this. I need this. But it wasn't as bad as I anticipated and had anxiety about. And so I committed to myself that I am going to get regularly tested so that I'm not unwittingly or unknowingly exposing friends or clients. My family's not around in this area, so I don't see them. But yeah, I think, you know, if you can get tested regularly, and I think, you know, what you think is regularly is up to you. For me, that's once a month. I don't want to be going every week. And to my knowledge, I haven't been exposed, but we all know that we could be unwittingly touching something and touching our face. And I mean, there's no way of knowing where you got exposed unless someone's like, hey, I got tested, and you were working on that client and you have to go through the rigmarole of shutting down, quarantining, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. Thank you so much, Darcy, for sharing that, because I have heard so many different, you know, just experiences, and I just wanted to hear from your take, because I know for me, just getting the flu, was it the flu testing? No, ma'am, I could barely get to sit through that. So
it's the dreading, not the doing. And this isn't my personal comparison, but I can relate. It's not as bad as menstrual cramps.
Okay. There you go to put it. Yeah,
not my description, but you know.
Darcy, before we let you head out, let me ask you one quick question. The misclassification of the workers. I am getting calls about this is coming and spreading across the country, and Georgia could possibly be a state where they're going to get rid of booth renting. So tell me, explain to everybody really quick what this misclassification of workers, what you guys have been fighting in Washington State with the other, and shout outs to the other organization. Give us the name of it as well.
So there's two organizations that I participate in. One is Cosmetologists of Washington United, which ironically was born of fighting a booth rental ban legislation attempt, which with grassroots activists and efforts, were able to defeat. And then the other group that I work with as the advocacy director is the Sovereign Stylists, which is the national group. And in particular, misclassification of workers is what happens when someone tells you that you're self-employed or an independent contractor or a booth renter without actually giving you the autonomy that is required of a small business. A person who runs a salon space and rents space to you does not have the ability to tell you your schedule, the product lines you use, a uniform to utilize, a dress code, a policy manual. You have a rental term contract. You pay a flat fee, and everything is separate. You take client payment separate. Everything is separate. Licenses, everything. And so what happens is that some salon owners either are ignorant to the law, or just don't know, or do know and are legitimately shirking tax liability, or telling someone, hey, you're self-employed, but they're treating someone like an employee to get out of paying payroll taxes like Social Security and Medicare taxes and things like that an employer is required to pay on your behalf, as well as pay you minimum wage or greater if you're an employee. If you're commission, you get minimum wage or greater plus commission and tips. So what's happening is a lot of people don't know their rights in our industry, and they're being exploited in this fashion. And the state legislation uses that as a tool or a piece of evidence to say that booth rental should be banned. We personally try to educate on legitimate business practice on both Cosmetologists of Washington United and the Sovereign Stylist, so that people know that they don't have to accept that kind of situation. And part of making sure that people aren't being exploited and getting our whole industry into danger with a booth rental ban and taking away our opportunity to make more money being self-employed, we try to use this kind of information against legislation that could harm our businesses.
Well, we're going to be reaching back to you in Washington State, because as this is picking up some momentum and steam around the country, you guys have already defeated this. So we will definitely be leaning on Washington State and leaning on you guys to really help.
I got a lot of pointers. Got a lot of pointers for you.
Yeah. And that's why we're glad to have you, because this is the kind of collaboration that it takes for us to win the war against our industry. You know, we're fighting in our prospective states, but this is a war nationally that is affecting all of us. So thank you for all you're doing in Washington.
Of course. It's what we need to do to make sure that the future of this industry is respected, and we can expand respect for our industry.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us this morning in Washington State. Now you can get your day started.
Yes, thank you so much.
On a good foot with all of y'all.
Yes, thank you, Darcy.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
See you too. I'm going to keep watching.
Yes, ma'am. Let's see. Ohio is in the house. Good morning, Dr. Brenda.
Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to be here. Glad to be with you all. And Darcy had a mouthful of information. Yes. Darcy, I would like to get to order that little Fauci. That's needed in the industry.
We all needed a little Dr. Fauci.
Yes. Well,
I love that.
Here in Ohio.
Ohio, look, we've been watching you guys. Y'all have some, not only do you know, the industry, there's issues there, but you guys have an issue with your state legislature as a whole with some scandals or something crazy.
There's a lot of upheaval going on, a lot of exposure. Oh my, I don't know where to start, but evidently the FBI was starting somewhere. They started at the top with the House Speaker, and going into the general session 133, it looks like a lot of the bills, especially in our industry that we're fighting, which are about 5 bills going on, they may not get looked into in this general session, because you need a Speaker of the House to even carry legislation to go forward. We don't know how long that's going to be before another one is appointed, but
so just go back so people will understand. Your speaker is under investigation.
Yes, $61 million, I guess, bribe, embezzlement, or whatever the circumstance with a big major industry, and money was given out. to lobbyists and so forth, and it's under investigation. It's pretty huge that when I look at it and see some of the things that money was given, and even in the fight that we're fighting, it's a big fight too, but the money that the politicians receive for causing other legislation to go through is just so unfair.
Yeah. So just to kind of, like I say, be clear, there's an investigation of the Speaker of the House in
The
Ohio.
Speaker of the House, yes.
And it has definitely caused a delay with any kind of passing of legislation, and just the whole state is at a standstill and really trying to figure out how to work through not having a speaker who is currently under some sort of investigation. So
yes.
I don't know that. Well, when it comes to the bills that's in your state that's affect our industry, that might be a good thing. This gives us more time to really address the issues. We have been working behind the scenes as an organization to get them to hear us and get some traction on these bills. So,
and it's not the first time. The last general session, there was a Speaker of the House that was pulled out, and bills had to wait. House bills, Senate bills had to wait until another speaker was brought in.
A lot of corruption. And it's, you know what, and it just shows you how, big of a problem money is in politics. I think we lost Dr. Brenda. Are you there?
Something went there. Okay.
You're back.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
You can hear you. I was just saying, it just shows how much of a problem money is in politics. And there's so much work to do. But I'm telling you, we have influence, and the fact that we have power in numbers with those of us that are in this industry, that we can galvanize and organize just the people. This is how we can get beyond the money.
That's what I think. I believe in the industry coming together, mobilizing together, speaking one voice, because in the words of the late John Lewis, you got to stand up, you got to speak up, you got to do something, get in good trouble. And I think this is good trouble that we're in. We're going to be in it because it's necessary trouble. Our industry is under attack.
Yeah, it is. It is under attack, and it's under attack nationally, Dr. Brenda. Yes. Not just your state in Ohio, not just Danielle's state of Pennsylvania, not just where I am here in Georgia. There's a war. There's a war on our industry, and we cannot. And here's our problem: we sit back and we wait for things to happen, and then we say, "What do?" We have to be proactive and not reactive, and I think that is our biggest problem as professionals. We don't stay. You don't prepare for war the day you got to go to war. You stay ready. You're always training. You're always abreast. You're always, new equipment, new ideas, it's like we have to stay organized. We have to stay, we have to stay in the fight all the time. There's no in today and then out tomorrow and then back in the next day. No, you have to stick and stay in this, and we have to stay abreast of these policy initiatives state to state. When things happen with a bill, we should be on it. We should know it. We should be ahead of it. We should have relationships with our legislators. There's so much work to do, and it will take us as an entire industry to do it.
Absolutely.
I hate to get on my soapbox. Danielle.
I agree. We have to stay diligent.
No, don't get off of the soapbox.
That's right.
We have to inform.
That's right.
I'm going to switch devices. This one device is giving me a problem. I'm going to switch devices.
Okay, well, we'll bring you back when you come back. Yeah, it's just so much. And I'm going to piggyback on some of the things that, Darcy was talking about with the misclassification of workers and the booth renters, y'all. For some people, for many of you in the beauty and barber industry, booth renting is your way. Having your own space, or your own suite, that is your way. And to have these kind of initiatives be taken away, that is your livelihood, that is your life, that is how you're feeding your family. And this makes me really nervous.
I mean, now here in the state of Pennsylvania, unless you are a barber and operate a barber shop, there is no booth rental for like hairstylists, estheticians, things, you know, nail techs. We expect it to be either hourly or commission. So that, you know, I don't really, it's hard for me to really speak on booth rental because that's just something that we don't have. That's not even an option for us here. Now, I know some people will do it anyway, but that's something that's just not available in the state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and in states where it is available, you know, this is all they know.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some good things with the booth rental, just from my observation, from learning from other states. But I think that what's happening is that it's probably really jamming a lot of independent stylists up when it comes to unemployment, retirement, or just, you know, God forbid you get hurt and you don't really have any insurance to cover, you know, during that time that you're sick or you're going to be off of work. So I think that, you know, with the booth rental, I mean, there are some benefits to it, but I think there's a lot of cons to it as well. I really do. Just from my observation, if it was available in my state, I would not even really look into booth rental because I just really think it creates a divide in the salon as well. I have a very close friend who's in California, and just the way that they operate their salons, it's almost like you feel like you're your own person, so you don't really work well with the salon owners and the other stylists. It's every situation is different, but just like I said, I think there's some benefits and some cons as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Dr. Brenda, you back?
I am back, and piggybacking on Danielle, you don't have the option of booth rental in your state.
No, not for unless you're a barber shop. If you're a barber shop, then they do. You are allowed. I mean, I know that there are some. Unfortunately, there are some salons, you know, that do operate that way because they have to fill those chairs, but it's not like legal here, and you can really get into a lot of trouble.
So let me ask you, why differentiate the barbers and the cosmetologists? Why can one have it and the other can't? What is that all about?
That's a good question. I'm not totally sure. So if you know, if there's anyone watching that actually knows, I don't want to give misinformation. I never really, I guess, like I said, I just really wasn't that much of a fan of it to really investigate as much. But I just know that that's how it's been. Even as far as joining up with, like if I brought a barber into my salon, we would have to have like a separate space for him, like a partition even has to separate the barbers from the hairstylists. So we couldn't work like right alongside each other. There has to be something to break up the fact that he's a barber and I'm a hairstylist.
That sounds very antiquated, and it sounds very sexist to me. It sounds like, okay, the men can do this, but the women can't. Like, I would like to know, what is the reasoning that you allow barbers and don't allow cosmetologists? Like that.
I'll do some research. I'll look into that. Like I said, I don't want to misspeak, you know, with so many people watching, but I'll definitely do some research and have that information for you. But that's kind of been our world here in the state of Pennsylvania. So that's why I said we have quite a few bills, House and Senate, and at least 6 of them were working in our favor. So I was happy about that. Like even as far as mobile styling, and they're also going to drop the minimum requirements to even open up a salon. Like you have to have so many square footage, things like that. They're starting to change a lot of those old regulations as well. So I'm actually excited about some of the bills.
Yeah. Dr. Brenda, what's the stat? Can you guys have booth rental in your state?
We do have, it's independent contractors, and I've experienced both. As far as in my salon, I started out with independent contractors, or they were booth renters, and then also those that were on commission. Booth renters, even in this time that we've gone through the pandemic, I noticed that a lot of the booth renters found out because of their status of being a booth renter, it was harder for them to get unemployment because they haven't established themselves as an independent business. They may be an independent contractor with the cosmetology board, but as a business, within a business, they did not count as a business. And a few times we had on our broadcast Miss Corrine that talked to the cosmetologist and the barber industry about establishing yourself as a business, not a DBA, but a business, legitimate business with LLC, or however you would want to do it, as a sole contractor, but establishing yourself as a business within a business where you pay your own payroll to yourself. You have an established bank account that establish you as a business, not just doing business as. So a lot of them found out that it was needed, that they needed to be a business, not just a independent contractor. We still have those, and it is sometimes brought up in legislation that they want to change that too and get rid of it. Right now, we still have it, but I think that now, when we have the barber board and the cosmetology board have merged together since 2016, they have merged together. The barbers are required to get CEUs. They've always had booth rental or independent contractors, but some of the laws that we had that govern cosmetologists now are going to govern the barbers. And when it came about, they weren't even ready for it. But now we're all together. It's easier to educate all of us together to be on one accord, to go forward with the bills that are going to affect all of the industry.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Danielle.
It's a lot. I mean, I think that we definitely have to first, recognize that there is some issues happening in our state, and then really acknowledge that that you can be affected. I know just from conversations that I've had, especially as far as deregulation, a lot of professionals just don't believe that that's going to happen because schools are still enrolled, people are still graduating from school, they're still obtaining their licensures, we're still paying our fees. But in the long run, I really hope that a lot of professionals really kind of pull their head out of the sand, step away from their chairs, and really acknowledge what is happening statewide. Because what happens in one state will eventually trickle down to the other states. And we have to take a stand. And like you said, Tamara, we can't just, wake up and get ready. We have to start preparing ourselves right now for the fight.
We have to stay ready. And deregulation, to people, they only see it like, okay, they're going to get rid of our license. That may not happen. But deregulation is also the devaluing of our industry. And when you see how they're lowering our standards, when you see that you have to work a second job, like Danielle, when I came into this industry, and Miss Dr. Brenda, I'm sure you can attest to this, I knew six-figure stylists. I knew people who were making, I knew them like personally, they were making excellent money in this industry. They didn't have to work second jobs. They didn't have to do Uber, and they didn't have to do all these other little things that exist today. They didn't have to do any of that, and they lived well. They lived really well. So to see this industry go from, I remember in my beginning, to see where we are now, where this is like a hustle, this is a side job, this is extra money. This was all your money at one point.
Right.
Yes, I agree.
Yes, I remember.
Oh, yeah. And so much has changed. I love the word devalue because I think it really brings more awareness to, instead of deregulation, devalue. We are valuable. We are essential. We matter. We are the ones that make our politicians and our celebrities and our important folk look good on camera or at their events, or whatever they have going on. We are important, and we have to stand up for our rights. And one thing that I don't like is that this information is not being put into the schools, the beauty schools, whether on the high school vo-tech level or just in the cosmetology schools for our future professionals. They need to understand what's happening, because a lot of these rules and regulations are being passed. A lot of these bills are being passed while students are still accruing hours and still working towards a licensure. So what a surprise when you get to the end of your program and everything has changed. I think that we definitely need to have a conversation about it. And one more thing, as far as just the stylists not being able to bring in the money, I believe that we don't look at ourselves as professionals anymore. We don't consider what we do as a business. My back. Okay, there I go. We don't consider what we do a business, and that's the one thing that I'm personally, noticing is that we don't talk about money. We don't talk about finances. We don't necessarily talk about how to actually run our businesses. We just want to know who does the best cut, color, and blowout, and it's so much more to being a professional than who does the best techniques.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, I'm off my soapbox now.
Yes.
No. We have to continue it on, because I believe in being proactive. I believe that our industry should not be devalued, and that in the schools, I volunteer and I go into the schools and I talk about the bills that are going to affect the students that are coming out. We have to educate and let them know what's going on, so that they will know and be in the good fight, the necessary fight. This industry, I've been in the industry for 47 years, and that's almost a half a century.
That's incredible.
and I know some that's been even longer, and they have to stay in the fight. We have to keep educating those students and our salon professionals that don't know. And it's a very difficult thing sometimes to just go into a salon and talk to them, or email them, or let them know what bills are being faced, that we're facing, for them to write letters to their congressmen, their senators, their representatives, to let them know that we're opposing some of the things that they're putting out there, some of the things that's going to devalue and deregulate. It's going to cause some problems down the road, and we have to continue in the good fight.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Dr. Brenda, thank you for giving us an update from Ohio. I see Texas is in the house, and we'll bring Texas in, and then we have our financial guru that's in the back waiting to come on as well. So thank you, Dr. Brenda, up in Ohio. Continue to fight the good fight, and we appreciate all that you're doing.
Yes, we do. Thank you so much, Dr. Brenda. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you. All right, let's see. We're going to see Kevin Jackson. I think he is, I think he's frozen again. He's having some issues over in Texas. Let's see. I see Racine in the back. Let's see where she is. Good morning. Uh-oh, we don't have any sound.
I was like, okay, why she can't hear me?
Good morning.
Excuse my lighting, you guys. I am so, I've just got off a phone call. So, oh my God, I'm on late. I'm sorry.
It's been one of those kind of mornings.
How are you all?
Good morning.
Good. How are you?
Good. Tamara, you looking all, beautiful and
yes.
Girl, and look, I washed my hair.
Honey.
Tell y'all the truth. I washed my hair, and it's conditioning underneath this cap.
Oh,
multitasking.
Yes.
Miss Danielle, the smile as always. Okay.
Oh, thank you so much, Miss Racine. I'm trying to keep up with you ladies, honey.
Wonderful week. I hope you guys are having, and I appreciate so much being on the call with you and sharing, and pray that so far is blessing you and giving you guys what you need. And so I'm just gonna kind of go, because we were talking about earlier, at one point people were feeling that, hey, this wasn't a great time to invest, etc. And because people say I have debt, and I need to get rid of my debt, and I'm gonna kind of address that too. this is a perfect time to invest. And, as you are doing your total financial game plan, which I talked about last week, is there's ways to free up money to do what we need to do. And I know, you got to have income and all that. So when we talk about getting out of debt, a couple of things that I help individuals do is free up money, for one, and I look up where they're spending their money in general. Okay. And I think we had made a comment last week. I'm so country. Is I'll show you how to squeeze blood out of a turnip. If you're from the South, you've heard that before, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of my mottos. Okay. So I will definitely look at where you're spending your money, because typically we may spend money at restaurants. We may spend money, just the small things. And I'll look if you can put away $50 to $100. I'll show you how to get your debt in place. Out, pay it off faster. I'll show you how to begin to save an emergency fund and also save for wealth building retirement. Okay. And so I was saying that this is a great time because you all know Black Friday during Christmas, correct? And everybody's rushing to the stores to buy their TVs, jewelry, whatever, because it's going to be at a least cost. Well, this is Black Friday, literally time, in more ways than one. So take advantage of it. So if you can get a Coca-Cola stock for $25 versus $100, wouldn't you want to go ahead and do that now? Okay. So I wanted to explain, once we do the debt, I'll show you how to do something called snowball, which is taking one debt at a time and paying it off. Once you pay it off, then we'll add it to the next bill. And so I'm able, by doing that as one way, can actually tell you exactly when you'll be debt free. Okay. To the date. Then I can actually tell you, hey, the money that we freed up from debt, I'm gonna show you how to recirculate it into your emergency fund and your wealth building fund. If you have kids, I'm gonna show you how to save for kids' education and not have to have them go it alone to go to school. Okay, there are great tax-free ways to do it. And then I'll show you one specific one that I like. That's really, to me, the superior of it. It's called the 529 plan. And it's state-based because it allows you to have write-offs for the state, income taxes as a write-off. And it's actually federally tax-free, meaning their money grows tax-free as well, federally. So that's one great way. And so I'll make sure that you have all of these savings, but again, freeing up money with, your credit, and make sure your debt is advanced and move it out of the way. Because sometimes mentally, that's the biggest hang up. We got to pay off the bills. So
I have a question, Ms. Racine. As far as the college, is there a certain, is it ever too late to take advantage of these college initiatives and savings? Like, for example, I have my youngest daughter. She just recently graduated. Wow. And yes, thank you. Her initial plan was to go into the military. She had wanted to go, and but with everything happening, she kind of changed her mind, and now she's considering enrolling into college in the fall. So we were prepared, but we weren't really prepared because we thought she was going to take an alternative route. Is it too late for us to benefit from any of these initiatives or savings?
I always say it's never too late. You won't have an opportunity to really stockpile within, say, a year or two. Right. With the exception that I use it as a way for birthdays, et cetera, other family members to kind of pool in and put money in the fund for her for that instance. Okay. It's great also if she's going to grad school because that money can accumulate and she can use it for grad school or graduate studies. Okay. Like Tamara went, for school and got her law degree, you can use it for that too. So you can be 80 years old and use the 529 plan. It's just not for, young individuals. You can be 80 or 90 going getting accredited degree. So you can use it for that, which is good. So
thank you so much. Well, that's so I'm not too old then. I'm not 80 yet. I got some time.
Kids, and we say it because that's the original intent. But say if the child doesn't go to college, they may go into the military instead. Well, then you might want to go back to school, and you can change the beneficiary of the plan to yourself or to another child, okay, and still have it accumulate and use it for them as well, so that it works, multiple ways.
Go ahead, Miss Racine, dropping these jewels, honey. Yes, we need this.
That's what I do. I do. No.
We need you.
Exactly. And so, and then with that said, it's a great way because, as I said, with the college education planning, when you have baby showers, birthday parties, I have a little gift card, and I always make sure that, hey, you're putting that in the invitation. So there are people who attend the party can actually donate to their college funds, or the baby shower, they can actually have that as part of the registry, put money into the child's education trust fund. And that way, hey, it's the gift that keeps on giving. So there's
that.
no
I've never seen that on a registry.
Creativity.
I love that. Yes.
But there's no reason why our kids need to have a loan to go to college. If we do it just that way, and so as we look at saving and understanding the market, some people can't do individual stocks and put a portfolio together. So I always make a suggestion to do something with mutual funds, okay? Because just think of all the people on this call right now, and I'm sure there's hundreds or 200 or more individuals on this call. And let's imagine that each of us is a company we do business with every day. So Tamara could be AT&T, Danielle, you could be, Walmart. I know Walmart is it's a private company, but T-Mobile, and then, I could be Macy's, and just think of all the different companies that is on this call today. And you, me, and millions of others, we're just pooling our money, buying shares of stock in those companies on a daily basis. And so those companies pay us back, 3 ways: through interest rate, profit, and appreciation, meaning the value increases over time. So that way we can build wealth that way. And it lets you diversify, because some of us aren't real aggressive investors. Some of us aren't slow investors. Some of us are in the middle. This will give us the opportunity to diversify our monies without having to put all of our eggs in one basket. Okay. And mutual funds are like people, they are, some of us are fast and hot, can't tell us nothing, hey. And then some of us are in the middle of the road, and some of us are on the median. We're a little slow, to advance. We're taking it easy. Where mutual funds are just like that. Part of my job is to find ones that fit you all, that match your goals and your dreams and things that you want to accomplish for whatever area of your life, And most people think you need $2,000, $4,000, $50,000 to open up a mutual fund. You can start one for $50 a month. Okay. And in some cases, fund families, $25 a month, but start. So if I'm able to free up money from your debt, then again, I can squeeze blood from a turnip and put some things back into your household. And especially now, your emergency funds, you can use not, mutual funds as stock funds, but you can use mutual funds as bond funds, which is a little bit more conservative, and they can be tax-free money that you grow for an emergency fund. Okay. So the bond funds are actually, very conservative, typically earning 2 to 4% return, whereas your bank accounts do what less than 1% presently.
She said some good mutual funds that she's heard were the big tech stocks like Apple, Facebook, Google, some of your bigger.
And I call them some of them are blue chip, and we call them emerging markets because some of those are new. Facebook went public, April 2010. So most people, whatever their share price is right now, most of us can't buy a block of 100 of Google shares. Okay. Mm-hmm. But I can buy a mutual fund that has Google, Facebook, Amazon, and all of them in one, and I can buy them in units of shares over time and still be able to invest in them at one point. And then as you get comfortable doing the mutual funds, then we can go in and do the individual shares with Google, with Facebook, etc. So good point though. Those are good companies that are growing and what we call emerging. You know, they have some growth potential. Blue chip true stocks are like McDonald's. Okay. McDonald's is not going to really do another hamburger. Okay. They're going to be consistent. It's not going to be much growth. You know, they can't figure a way to make the McRib any different than what it is. Okay. So
he says when the market is unstable, I've learned cash bonds are good temporary holds of money when things are up and down.
Gotcha. And when you say cash bonds, I use municipal bonds, mutual funds that are municipal bonds. And they are actually, say, for instance, and I've used this example before, where, you know, states and governmental entities are actually needing bonds to, you know, borrow from us so they can do great things. Georgia 400, if you're in Atlanta, you know, is a great example of that. Their toll road actually was being built using bonds by the state and the county. So as the road was being built and when it was finally done, the way they pay it back or pay us back for using our money, they either assess taxes for that area in that county to help pay it back, as well as the toll booth. Every time you go through, you had to put in what, 25 or 50 cents? That helped pay back the money too. So right now, the toll booth has been closed because they paid the money back already. And I think it closed, probably 8 or 9 years ago. So those are great examples, you know. And all of the infrastructure you see, you know, in most cities and states, the highways that are being built are actually, you know, because of bonds that have been issued to be able to do that. So cash bonds, you know, are just that, cash. Whereas municipal bonds are basically based on actual infrastructure changes, etc. So you may get a little higher return.
And is it a safer investment?
It is. It's very conservative. Very conservative. And it's I use it as a middle road for my emergency fund versus most people go to the bank, which is again less than 1%. So, you know, and it has a great track record as well. So a good point on the cash bonds.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
It definitely is good to know.
You guys are good with the questions today. I'm so proud of you. And so I'm gonna leave you guys with a very visual too about the market. And so, you know, when they're always talking about, you know, the bear market or the bull market, most people, you know, for me, I knew it went over my head because I'm like, oh, what are they talking about? You know, using animals as a way to describe. So what a bull market is, you know how the bull has the horns that go up?
Yes.
And, you know, when they're moving, they go up. So that means the market is rising. Stocks are at its best and rising. And it usually lasts about 8 or 9 years or longer. Okay. So from 2009, 2010, we had sort of a bull market because the market was increasing after the mortgage industry crash. Okay. And we had a good 10-year run up until 18, 19, end of 19, when things start going a little rocky as it is now. And then lastly, the bear market. A bear, when it gets its prey, it goes down like that. I know I'm real visual. Okay. Yeah. So a bear pounces and is going down, you know. So this is where we are now in the bear market because the market is down. Okay. And it's, you know, the stocks are at its lowest. Most of the time, bonds are higher at that point. So we are presently in the bear market presently. So as you remember, think of my visual here. Okay.
Yes, I love that breakdown. So, that helps a lot.
But either way, the market is always still good for investing, you know. And there's a saying I think Wall Street saying greed. Bulls make money, bears make money, but pigs get slaughtered. So there are some people that might be greedy during the market. So that's not what you want to be, greedy. Okay.
So that's the pig then, where you get slaughtered.
Okay. So that's the people who want fast money. Okay. There's no fast money. There's no fast money. There's no fast money.
No fast money. Okay. We all want that fast money. I can't lie.
Yeah. I can't help you with that. I like to make it fun and interesting.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't need to go over your head. I am the Cliff Notes of finance. I think that's going to be my new title, the Cliff Notes of finance. Mm-hmm. So cool. But any questions? Any other questions you guys have?
Mm-hmm. We thank you, Racine, for coming on every week and giving us these financial tips. And it's just, it's spoon feeding us. And that's what I can tell you I appreciate about the way you deliver it. It is like spoon feeding. You know, we're babies, a lot of us, with how we need to move in this financial world, with, you know, making money in this industry. There's a lot that we don't know. You know, we tend to, of course, get that money, put it in the bank, and do what we were taught to do by our parents, and maybe save it. You know, but we don't have any kind of real investment and no real knowledge in investments. And that's not something that's taught in beauty school. They don't, you know, they want to get you in and get you out so you can pass the test. They're not teaching you these life skills. So I can appreciate, Racine, the way you spoon feed us this information, because sometimes it could be overwhelming, because if you don't really understand the bigger language, like you're talking to us in layman's terms. Right. But if you were speaking to a group of people who understood this, you would be using words and we would be like, what in the heck is she saying?
And one of my favorite all time that I follow a lot, and it's a sister called Ariel Hobson, and she's with Ariel Investments, and not doing a plug or anything, but when I look at she married the Star Wars creator.
Okay. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Okay, and just her delivery, I'm like, okay, she makes it simple for me as well. And so I followed her for years, and I was like, wow, when I look at her, I look at me becoming, you know. Mm-hmm. And she's one of the first African Americans that have actually been president of a investment firm, you know, and she's been there since she was 25 years old. So, and then she's also on the board of directors for DreamWorks, who, you know, does a lot of the Disney animation, etc. So for her background is ideal, you know, and I said, hey, if I wanted to emulate anybody, that would be her, you know, and just the work and how she articulates, you know, and keeps it simple. Yeah. So, you know, that,
so thank you for doing that for us as beauty and barber professionals, where we don't know. And I can just tell you, from somebody that was in the industry as a professional for 18 years doing services, a lot of hearing some of this now is like, wow, I could have done this, I could have done that. Mm-hmm. I didn't know. You don't know. I didn't know. So I'm just grateful that you're here to educate the next generation of beauty and barber professionals. So thank you.
Hey, you are absolutely welcome. Anytime you need me, I'm here. Okay.
Thank you. And you can find Miss Racine. Her phone number is on the screen, 866-841-9496, or info@racineweichert.com.
All right.
Thank you
so much, Miss Racine. Yeah, thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Same here. Same here. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, Danielle, I always feel so empowered after these Tuesday broadcasts. Like, okay, not only did we get caught up on, you know, what's happening state to state, but we also get a chance to hear financial information that will keep the money in our pockets and, you know, help us to have the stability we need in this pandemic, right?
Oh, yeah. And what I love about Miss Racine is she really has a way of just breaking it down and making it very plain. And I believe that she's teaching us how to take control and regain power over our finances. Because I think a lot of times we allow our money to control us. And now it's time to take that control back and make sure that we're being good stewards over what we are bringing into our homes and businesses.
You gonna close this out?
Absolutely. Again, I just want to thank everyone for joining us. If you're watching this in the replay, thank you. Please comment, like, share this out so everyone can get a chance to see it. And again, we are Politics, Beauty, and Barber, the Concerned Beauty and Barber Professionals. Thank you so much for joining us today. See you next time.
See you next week, everybody.